Hey guys, I'm Michael. My wife Kendall and I both resell full-time on eBay, and taking in considerations of you guys' comments last week on the What Sold video, enjoying more of the blow and go style and seeing more brands, this week I've got a special treat for y'all. For the next 7 days, a video is going to go live every single day, and it's going to go over every single sale for that day on What Sold. So hopefully you guys get to see all the things that are the bolos that we find, all the way down to the things that we probably shouldn't be picking up anymore in the thrift stores. So let me know if you guys like this. Hopefully you guys do, and let's get right into this. We're gonna go quick. All right, so we ended up selling 21 items on Monday, and I'm going to show you guys all of those items, as well as if you're new here or if you're a recurring viewer, I always say the price that the buyer paid, not including shipping, sales tax, all that stuff. So the number I say will be a best offer or the ask price, not including shipping and all that stuff. So let's just rock and roll. So first was a Canali pair of pants made out of 100% wool. Canali dress pants do pretty decent for us. This is about what we get for them. They ended up selling for $29.84 at a best offer. And yeah, not much to say here. Canali is a great brand. We usually always pick up their stuff. Had a little flaw here on the bottom, still not a big deal. And took about 5 to 6 months to sell, as dress pants typically take a little bit longer, we have noticed in our store, to sell. But also this did have a small flaw, so you got to wait for that right buyer to come along and pick up your item. And the size on this, I guess was, I know the size, but it's underneath this flap. But anyways, it's a 34. So next is Stitch. Stitch has honestly fallen off quite a bit in the past year. So this brand used to be really good to pick up about a year ago, maybe a little longer. Used to have a over 100% sell-through rate. Now the prices and the sell-through rate has dropped quite a bit. So we usually only pick this brand up if we're paying, maybe $4 or less for the item, at most $5. This one was a size large. The 2XLs and stuff do obviously much better, but the size large ones, the generic pattern ones, are okay. They're not great, like I said. This one ended up selling for $19.99. Yeah, so not much to say here. Again, just be careful with buying it. Only buy it cheap. And a disclaimer, everything that you're about to see, since this style of video is a little bit different than normal, some of the lower end stuff, you guys might think like, oh, this is not a great brand to sell, just out of your own personal experience and stuff like that. Not everything we buy is 100% sell-through rate. We usually try to aim for 100, but we go as low as 50%. And even those 50% sell-through rate items, even sometimes 33%, they still sell through in our store 100%, just because of the way we have our business model set up and our pricing and our marketing and promoted listings and all those things. So everyone's store is set up differently, and that means that everyone's store sells through items differently. So just because you see something in here does not mean that it's going to sell or it's worth picking up for your store. So do your research and make sure you know what you're buying before you actually buy it. Next is Roar, another brand that's sort of fallen off over the past years, but it is still okay here and there. Not as great of a sell-through rate, not 100% I don't think anymore. But these larger sizes that are embroidered and stuff seem to still be doing okay. This one ended up selling for a best offer of $22. Next is a New Tags Johnny O. This brand has completely fallen off. We basically don't pick this up anymore unless it's like this, where it's a New Tags item, or if it's geometric or performance material with geometric, or just like a pattern in general that's not striped or solid. We usually will pick up, but also has to be pretty cheap, as the sale price is not that high. This ended up selling for $25. New Tags used to be able to, a year or two ago, get $25 used for these items, but again, this has just changed over time. For some reason, I also just realized that this was listed as pre-owned. It actually is New Tags, which is probably why it did not sell for the full last price. Error on our part. If we put New Tags, it might have sold for maybe 40 or 50. I don't know. But sometimes we make mistakes. We're just human. And yeah. Next is a Sims hoodie. I think this is, yeah, woman's just hoodie. I mean, we buy a lot of Sims stuff, and it does really well in our store. Since it was women's, not as much of an high ask price as the men's stuff, but still sold for $21. And I have no clue what we paid for this. I don't know what we paid for most of this stuff, because we don't keep track of it. I know it was on the store for less than a month and it sold. And so yeah, I'll try to give you guys how long it took for these items to sell, so you have a good idea of how long it takes for some of these things to sell. But as for what we paid, We always try to make at least 10 bucks on our items, but we average around 15 in profit per item. And so you can just guesstimate, off of that number, how much we typically will spend for an item. Travis Matthew, I do know that we don't spend more than $5 on these anymore. So just a Travis Matthew polo sold for the full ask price of $22.86. This is one of those brands where someone's going to be out there and be like, I can't sell these at all in my store. It's all dead inventory. Again, our stores just for some reason sells through some of this stuff because probably we offer returns and all those other things that are business model related. So we do pick up a lot of Travis Matthew and we sell Travis Matthew every single week in our store. But again, doesn't mean that it's going to sell well in other stores. Next is Ariat M4 jeans. We always pick up Ariat jeans if it's the right price. A lot of the times they're overpriced, so we have to wait till they go on half off, which is typically the case. Like I just bought 6 pairs of Ariat fire resistant jeans yesterday whenever it was half off, but they were priced way too high at full price. These had a big tear in the bottom of the leg, which is not supposed to be there. So we decreased the price a little bit compared to comps due to that issue and listed it at $33, and it ended up selling for $29.82, so a best offer of 10% off. Next is Viore, new with defects. So this has an MSRP of $54 on it, and it had defects, and it still sold for $36.99, the full ask price, and then the buyer paid shipping and all that. And just for the sake of that comparison, this ended up selling all in for $47, even though the MSRP is $54. So that just tells you how good of a brand Viore is. So it just sells super well, super fast. Usually does not sit in our store for longer than a week or two. This one took less than a week to sell, even though it was literally $5 or $6 less than the MSRP or $8 less than the MSRP, and it had flaws. So crazy stuff. I can't believe how well that brand is doing right now, honestly. Next is a women's We The Free brand. No clue. I really don't know anything about this brand. This is a Kindle pickup. She does the women's clothing whenever we're in stores every once in a while. It ended up selling at a best offer of $36.65. So again, 10% off. That is usually our cutoff, by the way, is 10%, but we go as little as 15% off. So super good item, I guess. So I guess after this video, I'm going to be looking up this brand so I know it in the future, but do your research and see if it's everything that sells well for this brand or if it's just certain models. I believe this is probably going to be more of a model thing because this isn't technically flared, but it's like a baggy-ish. It's not flare, but it looks almost like a flare model. So just a baggy style, which is really hot right now, both baggy and flare. Next is Corcoran boots. I have sold these many times in the past, and I always get around $100 for them, sometimes up to $150. These ended up selling for $90. So really good sale price, 10% off of the ask price, sold within, I think, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. So I picked up 2 of these at a thrift store. The other one sold within a day, and then those sold for like $130. And then these ones were a less desirable model, which these shoes do have model style codes in there, the G15247. So it might be that one. It might also be the XC1525. It's this one, actually. The XC1525 is a style code. So had a 100% sell-through rate and picked them up, I believe, for 20 or 30 bucks and flipped them quickly. Next is Rag & Bone. So we sell these all the time in our store, but these were women's and I thought they were men's whenever I bought them for some reason. Or maybe I just bought them because I don't remember. I bought these at a Goodwill, I know that. I paid $5 or less for them. And I think I probably bought them knowing they were women's, and I thought I thought they were going to do good in sale price. And whenever I got home, I realized that Rag & Bone women's stuff is not nearly as good as Rag & Bone men's stuff. Whereas if these were men's jeans, they would sell for 30, 40, sometimes 50 bucks. And in reality, these ones sold for $15 at a best offer. So not a big deal. They've been sitting for 7, 8 months. So just glad to get the money back and get this item sold. Next is a 4XLT solid blue Ralph Lauren polo. So we buy anything that's Ralph Lauren that's a big size, 3XLTs, 4XLTs, 3XBs, 4XBs or bigger. And they typically do pretty good in our store. This one sold for $26.99, even though it had a little faded flaw down here. Yeah, I mean, not much to say here. We always just buy the big stuff if it's the right price, and it seems to always sell well in our store. And so, yeah, big size Ralph Lauren stuff, I think everyone knows, has a pretty high demand. And so a lot of people also know to just buy it. So it's hard to find sometimes, but we do find it quite often still because it is such a, large brand of stuff. There's so much Ralph Lauren stuff out there. Next is Prana, a brand that we're still trying to learn what sells well in this category or in this brand. So a lot of Prana stuff doesn't sell well, but there are things here and there that sell pretty decently. Like their pants, for example, we will buy for $5, $6, sometimes 7, 8, depending on what model it is. And usually with those pants, we can get around 20 to $30 plus shipping. This one's sold for the ask price of $25.72. And yeah, I am, again, still learning this brand. There are a lot of things that are not good with it, especially their button-down shirts. We just never pick up those. The sell-through rate is horrible. The sales price is horrible on their button-down shirts. But there are other things that they make that do pretty decently on eBay. Next is Red Vanley. It's a golfing brand. This is a golf polo, spandex material, super nice, high-quality shirts they make. I've sold this brand many times. They also make Q-zips and pants and all of the categories. But yeah, it's just super good brand. You don't find it often. There's not a ton listed, and I don't know if it's still 100% sell-through rate. I think the sell-through rate has gone down over the past year quite a bit. But this one's still sold within a month or two for the ask price of $23.62. And again, I have no clue how much we paid for this, but yeah. Next is 511. This brand definitely has fallen off over the past year or two, and we only pick up certain models and lines, and it has to be really cheap. I'm talking like $2, $3 we spend on 511 stuff, and it's got to be like, these look like buttons, but it's the snap model, so it's got snap buttons instead of normal buttons, and these seem to do pretty decent for us whenever it comes to sell-through rate. Obviously, as you can tell, the pricing is not great, so this one sold for $13.13. It took about 5 to 6 months to sell. We honestly don't really pick these up anymore. In general, almost all 511 stuff we don't pick up anymore, unless there's some caveat to the brand where it's a really big size and they sell 100% and they sell for like $20, because we just don't like selling this brand anymore. The overall sell-through rate has gone down. So this is definitely, like the intro said, one of those brands that we have stopped picking up over the past couple months, and it is just now selling through our store, and we're getting rid of the 511 stuff that we have left in our store. Next, we have a Duluth 2XL short sleeve button down shirt. This one was just cool because it had patterns on it. Duluth in general is a slow selling brand whenever it comes to eBay used sales, but we picked this up for just a couple bucks, as well as I think a couple other pattern ones like this with this. I think we bought 2 or 3 of these shirts that had different patterns. It being a 2XL increased the sell-through rate a little bit, but the overall price and sell-through rate is pretty bad on these. But again, we don't always buy 100% sell-through rate. We sometimes drop down to 50%, and I believe this is the case for this item. This is probably more towards a 50% sell-through rate. Honestly, maybe even less than that. But it still sold really well for $22.86 plus shipping, and it took less than a month to sell. So honestly, pretty impressive for what it is. But I know Taylor Exchange has a lot of knowledge on Duluth, well, 100 times more than I do. I just started picking up some things here and there from the brand, but a lot of the times the margin on it is too low for me to even bother with, so I have to pass on almost all of the Duluth stuff. But here and there we pick up something if it's really cheap, just to experiment with it. Next, we've got a Tommy Bahama silk camp shirt, solid red, has little like leaves embossed in the pattern slightly. It's too hard to see in the pictures though. And there is no size tag on this, but we knew off the measurements, being a 24 pit to pit, that it was a size large, so put it in the title and filled in correctly. And this ended up selling for $17.51, so 10% off, I think, of $19.45. So decent sale. Tommy Bahama, another brand that everyone seems to struggle with a lot of the times, but we usually pick up most of the Tommy Bahama stuff we find whenever it comes to these camp shirts, especially going into summer now. I don't recommend picking them up, honestly. I think it's one of those anomaly brands where if you have the right store set up and the right marketing stuff, like promoted listings and all that, then you have a chance of selling these things. But again, we just pulled 200 items from our store that were over a year old inventory, and there were a lot of Tommy Bahama stuff in there, but a lot of that Tommy Bahama stuff had flaws. So now whenever we're buying Tommy Bahamas, we look hardcore at the quality and make sure there's absolutely nothing wrong with the item. That way we have less of a chance of it not selling. Next is a Grayson Q-Zip. Had a little logo on here, which is why we priced it a little less. I believe it sold within a month, and coming out of winter, I know it's still going to be a little chilly up north for Q-Zips and stuff, so people are buying these things still. This ended up selling for the flash price of 40 plus ship. Whoever bought this got a great deal. We just wanted to move this thing and get it out, and honestly priced it pretty on average. Like the range was around 30 to 50 bucks, so we just priced it dead in the center, and it ended up selling well. Grayson's a great brand, by the way. I think everyone knows it now, but Grayson Golf, they make great stuff. Pricing is going down. It's starting to be in the Marshalls, Home Good, TJ Maxx's around here in Dallas for 40 bucks for new attack stuff. So I assume in a year from now it will be not worth a whole lot, but as of right now, it's doing pretty good. Next is a 2XLT Ralph Lauren. As I said, we buy a lot of the big stuff. This ended up selling for a best offer of $17.64, so not a super high sale whatsoever, but it did have a couple stains that were not able to be cleaned, and yeah, sat for 4 or 5 months. And yeah, I mean, 2XLT stuff, I mean, we probably paid, again, we don't pay much for these items that we know are going to sell for under $20. We would pay at most, $4. So after $17.64 sale price, after fees and stuff, even with promoted listings, we still walk away with $10 profit on a sale like that, which is in our metric of what we're aiming for. Next is this Built t-shirt. We love buying Built. It's all over the place here in Dallas, and this one took a while to sell. It took 6 to 7 months, maybe 8, honestly. Usually this stuff sells much quicker, but it is a size small. Honestly, I probably should have pulled this and kept it. If I knew we had it, I would have. But yeah, size small, which is why it took so long to sell, and the price wasn't as high as we usually get. Ended up selling for $16 at a best offer. And yeah, size small stuff does not do good, as most people know. So next is lastly is a pair of coral boots. Really cool pair of boots, a lot of embroidered stuff going on, a lot of pattern stuff going on. They typically go, I think I've said this in past videos, coral, they have this style code in here, the stock number, and it's this 2108 number, so you can look up the exact boot you have, but for the most part, I would say 50% of the time, coral boots will sell for sub $50, and then the other 50% of the time they will sell for over $50. And so you really have to look up these models and find your exact one and make sure that you have one of the ones that is going to be on the higher side of pricing and sell-through rate, as a lot of the times these are expensive in the thrift store, and the last thing you want to do is buy a $20 pair of coral boots just to sell it for $30 or $40 and basically break even on your money. So make sure you're looking up your exact models with coral boots, as they fluctuate heavily in pricing whenever it comes to the exact size of models and stuff you have. All right, so like I said, I guess now it's going to be the next 6 days. Every single day in the afternoon, there'll be a video that goes live, just like this one, the exact same setup of the what sold video for that day. We had, and by the way, this is the previous week's days. So like today is Monday the 15th. I'm currently going over the previous Mondays. So I already know the outcome of the entire week. And there are some days, we had two, I think $1,400 or $1,500 days in last week at some point. I think it'll be the 4th video and the 7th video that comes out will be massive sale days with a ton of things that sold, I think close to 40 items on each of those days. So the rest of the days are pretty average, $800 to $1,000. So be on the lookout for the next few videos and come and see everything that we've been selling over the past week. And hopefully, again, you guys like this style. I'm not sure I'm going to do this. We'll just see how this ends up going. Okay, if you guys like this, I might keep doing it. I might not. I might go back to just the once a week deal. We will see. But I just hope you guys enjoy and gain some stuff from these videos, and I will catch you guys in tomorrow's video.